Yo, welcome to CypherBeastT.V. On this show, we got what just happened this past weekend is the breaking in the Olympics. And so we're going to talk about that, kind of the highlights and the moments that just happened. But my special guest today, we got Bboy Dyzee. We're going to talk over about the moments about Olympic breaking. Bboy Dyzee, how you doing?
Doing good. Just to let everyone know that I lost my voice just like on the weekend, right? So I couldn't speak. That's why I didn't film any videos or anything. And I think there was a higher power reason why I needed to keep everything to myself and just really meditate on what's going on, like all the things that happened. So I'm doing great. I'm excited to discuss this a bit further and talk about all the things in my head since everyone's asking me like nonstop asking me what do I think, put something out. So the first thing that's coming out from my opinion and the things that I've witnessed and seen is live on CypherBeastT.V.
That's what's up. Thank you. Exclusive here on CypherBeastT.V with B-Boy Dizzy. There's some crazy highlight moments that have happened, right? And no one has really seen
Mhm.
it because it's not really been posted up on YouTube. I think mainly what people saw is during the live stream on NBC or Peacock. And so right now, let's break it. The most viral moment is Australia B girl, B boy, B B girl Raygun. She's I don't know. This was crazy. I saw her around going against Logistics, Nikki, and apparently her last moment on the stages against Logistics, she went her style, originality, or certain moves, and kind of dipped in her culture with the kangaroo stance. The thing is blowing up worldwide, and it's good for the break scene because I mean it could be negative news or good news, right? Either news, it's still movement and noise for the dance scene. But us collectively as the breaking scene, there's only so much we can make fun of to do that. But in a positive stance, that's where we stand. And while the whole world is looking upon it, I think it's still a good thing in her eyes to have this viral moment, and it's good for the scenes because it's making noise for the break. And in your eyes, you've probably seen many things online, Instagram, social media. What are your thoughts collectively within that?
There's just so much to unpack when it comes to Raygun because there's there on one side of the aisle there's like a lot of negativity and it's like a meme, like they're using.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is, so I'm gonna be straightforward. I'm in Taiwan. I don't speak the language, and I tried my best to find ways to get on to get on the streams to watch Olympics live, and I couldn't do it. But I woke up to everyone talking about it. I saw the Instagram, and I spent all day just going through everything, seeing what everyone's talking about. And the crazy thing that I saw was that everyone's posting viral about Raygun, like really bashing on her and everything. And I just want to let everyone, like, I actually haven't seen the full battle, right?
Uh
All I
huh.
can see is the edited version of Raygun's clips. So basically, what
Oh,
someone
right.
did is took Raygun's moments and they edited out all the good stuff, the better stuff, and they only put
Mhm.
the the stuff that people are gonna like, kind of like everyone being like, what is this? What is this move? What are these things? You know what I mean? And
Right.
they were slight. So this became a meme, right? And this is what, and it's kind of sad that out of all the things in breaking that people are talking about, everyone's really just talking about that. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so there's people in the scene that are saying like, we're the laughing stock and everything like that. And the thing is though that there are people who actually watched it, right? Watched breaking and they said it was amazing. The people who watched it. And there's a lot of people who didn't watch it whatsoever, didn't see anything except for Raygun. And so they're putting
Yeah.
that as the benchmark. You know what I mean? Of not looking at all the other crazy things and the men's, the finalists, the gold medalists. They're not looking at any of that, right? And the fact that Olympics not posting it up so people can even see the full battle to see it in its entirety, everyone's just kind of making a meme of it. So it's kind of sad that that has happened. You know what I mean? So I'm sad about that. I'm not happy
Yeah.
about the way that she's being bullied. You know what I mean? Like people are just really going off on her, right? And and they're coming up with all these kind of conspiracy theories, that she paid her way, to get in, and
All right.
she's like an evil person that took it away from somebody else. And there's a lot to unpack about that too. And I really looked as far deep into all of that as I can. And yeah, I'm just like I'm sad about that. Like I'm sad about like that this is the main discussion. Is there something good about it? The only good thing that I think about it is that it's revealed a few things. Namely,
Right.
it revealed how tight our community is, because a vast majority of the breaking community has rallied behind her to show her our support. You know what I mean? And I hope that's enough for her to be able
Yeah.
to look at the scene and say like, wow, like, look at everyone trying to defend me. We're not defending that like her skills was at this Olympic level. You know what I mean? Of all the other dancers out there. You know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to
Right.
I'm not trying to gaslight the general audience to say, hey, no, what you saw was amazing, it was the best, right? But I'm not gonna say to the general audience that that's not breaking. They're saying what she's doing is not breaking. Actually, it is breaking. You know what I mean? It is breaking, right? But it's not what they were expecting. Definitely it's not what they were expecting. So yeah, I like that it revealed what how our community is tight. Like, and I think a lot of people are finding
Yeah.
solidarity. People are actually fighting online against the trolls. They're actually, like, I'm seeing like big names really going out there, taking their time to post and say and educate people. So there's like an information war.
Yeah.
Secondly, the thing that this revealed is that there's a lot of uh haters for breaking, and the reason why is because this didn't just start now, right? This started when they announced breaking is going to the Olympics, and the country that had the most hatred towards breaking going to the Olympics was actually Australia, right? In Australia there
Oh
were
wow.
all these people, because the thing is, like, the way Olympics works is there's like there it's not like what most people think. How people think people get into the Olympics is, it's they think of it like America's Got Talent. You know what I mean? Or So You Think You Can Dance. Where all
Hmm.
these people in the world uh sign up, and then the best of the best are taken from all around the world, whether they're all from America or wherever they're from, and they're all taken and they're all just put there. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not like that, right? What Olympics is countries of the world are competing with one another. The nations of the world are competing with one another, right? And they are going and selecting their best. You know what I mean? So it's not a reflection of the dancer. The dancer is a reflection of the country. You know what I mean? That's basically what it is, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So this is the reason. So all the countries that put so much into like coaches. So for example, China, they had four international coaches come to China and train, like, like four legendary uh people who like be like dancers, one for power, one for foundation.
Hmm.
So they had the power one was Sambo, right? And he's the one who taught like
Oh,
taught
word.
he
No way.
basically who taught all the power moves to China. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the one who literally taught them all the technique and dynamics. He got their level up there. And then you have Munir, who taught how to the stamina, the execution, the strength. He taught them how to really like push it. And then they got um uh, what's his Freeze, right? B-boy Freeze. He got him to teach the foundation and the musicality and the footwork. So they really, they really invested into their to make their, so not like, if you look back only 3 to 5 years ago, right? China was not even on the map. They never won any international competitions ever. And now they were able to
Hmm.
place, not only get to the Olympics, but actually win a medal, right? The B girl, right? Won a bronze medal. Like,
Oh yeah.
that is an amazing feat. You know what I mean? Like by the support of China and the support of France. So Danny Dan, like he never won a BC one or a or big world title. I mean, he may have won some stuff, but not like to the extent of everyone else. But because they pushed him, they worked on training him, and giving him the support to really get far, he was able to get a silver, right? To put France second, so that's how much support they did. But the country that did not give any support whatsoever, it reflected, you know, on the battle floor. You know what I mean? So instead of blaming Raygun, she got there with what she could, what the best that she could have done. You know what I mean? Without the country's support to really, like, who did they bring in from outside of the country who actually, like, coaches that won international competitions, that have trained champions? Who have they brought out to come in and say, okay, this is what you need, really, honestly, to get better? Like, who did they really get? Like, what was she training in the official Olympic centers, right? Like, did they actually do
Mm,
that? Because this is how it's supposed to be done. It's not just on her, right, to get her level to up there. It's on the coaches. It's on the country, the support. They're the ones who are responsible for that. You know what I mean? And they didn't take it seriously, right? As they should have, right? Now, the reason why they didn't take it seriously, and the reason why there was like a lot of hate, was because, um, like I was saying, there is 5 continental regions that have to have a spot, because Olympics wants universality. They want, like, they don't want everyone coming only from the east or the west. They need a representative from the 5 continents, right? So they
mm,
have someone from
right.
Africa, the African continent. They have one from Pan America, which is North and South America together. You know how many amazing breakers, but they can only have one to represent that continent, right? And then they have Europe continent. They have Asia. So think about all the countries in Asia, like Philippines, Malaysia. They had to go to the Asia finals against Japan, against China, against Korea, right? So no Southeast Asians were able to even make it to that stage, right? But Oceania is a continent, right? And where's the country? What country is the dominating the most? Australia, right? In the oceanic region, right? Is Australia. So Australia does actually support their athletes quite a bit. They actually do. But the thing is, when breaking was announced, like, a lot of other sports were pissed because they were like, "What? You have breaking into the Paris Olympics, but what about us? We've been fighting so hard to get into the Olympics. Why breaking?" Right? So the hate in Australia already started from way back when, right? Before they even announced breaking going to the Olympics. You know what I mean? They from way back then. So that may have contributed to why there was like a lack of support and a lack of funding. I don't know, but how a country treats their athletes is a reflection on that dance floor. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope. And there's so much involved into it to represent. And
Mm.
also, then they have to do a pre-qualifier to actually get it, into the Olympics.
So so this is the situation, right? Like, in continental qualifiers, from what I know, continental qualifiers are not necessarily open qualifications where anybody can just join them, right? They're
Mm,
not supposed to be like that. From what I know, right? Because I've been working with a
okay.
few, right? So the continental qualifier, for example, in Asia, uh, they go to the national governing bodies in Philippines, in China, in Korea, in all the Asian countries, and say, okay, submit your 3 or 2 highest ranked b-boys and highest ranked b-girls, right? So they ask for a submission.
Mm,
So not anybody can enter, right? And so only the ones that have ranked in the nationals can make it to the continental qualifier, right? So in Oceania, the Oceania qualifier, the question is, was Australia having a legitimate uh, national, regional qualifications all over the country to make sure that everybody can join? Maybe they did. I do not know this, right? I do not know this for a fact. I'm not 100% sure. I reached out to the
okay.
ABA. the Australian Breakin Association to see what is the truth, if they had actually like what's going on. But they're coming out with an official statement soon, right? And so my question is, did the ABA, was the ABA, which is a subset of the Australian dance sport, the Dance Sport Australia, right? They're actually real b-boys. Did they have the funding? Did they have the resources to actually put these qualifiers across Australia? And the thing is, Australia
Mm.
is expensive, right? Like it's a huge continent. So to fly from one side to the other, it's like costs a lot of money. It's not like you can't just drive across Australia. That's gonna take like days, you know what I mean? So
Right.
so in order to really find out who's the best in Australia, because Perth, Adelaide, Brisbane, Gold Coast, which I'm sure there were some people, they have to make these qualifiers and they have to send the winners to an Australian break-in, so Australian national final, and they should have like four or five, and they should have these continuous battles happening, right? And then they should be taking the highest ranked, and then they should those three highest ranked breakers, b boys and b girls, should be taken into the national pool, not the national pool, the national team, and they should be training in a national center, right? An Olympic national center, and they should be funded to be able to train, like and increase their skills. They should be given coaches, which I'm sure they did have local coaches, but they should be having international coaches come in, teach them what they need to do, leave, and then the national coaches make sure they're training according to the international coaches. So these are all the things that should be happening, right? Which is on the country itself. You know what I mean? The governing body. Did they do that? If the answer is yes, then they did what they did. Then I mean, then I'm sorry. This is the best that they could have produced, right? But did they
Right.
not do what they're supposed to do, right? I don't know, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if they did or didn't, right? Like, there's no way to know, right? So yeah, that's the situation. And so it's kind of like everyone's like asking, why did she get there? Well, she won the
Uh-huh.
Oceanic qualifier. Did the Oceanic qualifier have people from New Zealand? Did New Zealand have their qualifications to find out who? Or was the Oceanic qualifier just open to anybody to enter, but not a lot of people even could even go for whatever reason, because, Oceania is big, right? Like, I don't know the answer to those questions, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it could have been not been, but whatever the reason is, it's up to the local national governing body, right? To be able to, it's to be able to produce that, right? So yeah, it is what it is, right? And then yeah, and I feel
Right.
sorry for her to getting that kind of uh hate. You know what I mean? Like, the hate, like, like
Yeah, you got
I
the whole world for sure hating on her or
yeah,
making fun of or cyberbullying, right? But and then she
yeah.
she she did good on the stage, which is a dream come true. On top of that, there's
And
good
she did,
good involved in it
I mean,
behind it,
she
right? And
did good,
and
like I mean, she for her, like, to make it out there is a big thing. But and of course, like, I want to speak on another side of the culture as well too, right?
yeah.
Uh there are b boys and b girls who are saying, um we want the best of the best to represent the culture. And the best argument I heard
Mm,
from the
right.
side that is not happy with performance is, you know like, I'm like, if you ask, why aren't we focused on the best, like the champions and whatever, right? And the best argument I heard from that side was, that a chain is only as strong as the weakest link, right? And so yeah, I felt that, man,
Mm,
it's really hard, you know what I mean? Like, it's really sad, and yeah, we really do need to have like everybody ready, like, you know what I mean? Like, as a community, like, like, as a culture, like, we,
yeah.
like, as a country, as a nation, in Australia, everyone should be like, yo, we need to come together to make sure, if she's the representative, we need to come together to make sure she is ready, right? Like, we need to, we don't
Right.
want to look bad, right? Like, we want, we want to make sure, right? Like, but the breaking community only can do so much, right? Because the other countries are actually funding all
Mm-hmm.
their athletes, and giving, like, making sure, that they're gonna get some kind of gold, like Japan, you know, they were able to secure some gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
man, it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, wow, that's awesome, dude. And, shout out to, Australia, Raygun for being the floor. There's a lot of very controversial through everything, and who knows how long it'll last. And hopefully they induct it through the LA games and better representation for the debut, you know.
Oh, it's not gonna go to
Um,
the games
yeah, yeah, I heard
for
they didn't
sure.
get
It was,
approved, right? Or they
but
didn't
it
vote
was
for it.
no, no, no. This is like, see, coming into Paris, every country that is the host country is allowed to select who they like, a sport that they want, right? And Paris wanted breaking. You know what I mean? That's what they wanted, right? So they were able to pull it off, right? Because they're the ones
Ah,
who wanted it, a new. Now, the LA didn't select breaking. It's not like breaking was is not a sport that is like a continuous every year, right? So this was kind of like a trial in some ways, right? And so it
right.
kind of came in. That's how it came. So, but it wasn't. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's because of Raygun, breaking is out and not going to the LA," and that's not true at all, right? That is not true at all, which is really sad. I hope the WDSF not official statements, to say that's not the reason, right? Like, you know what
Yes,
I mean? Like, so that's a
because
good thing about having governing
it.
bodies. The governing bodies should be able to put out statements to correct the misconceptions that are going on.
Yeah, definitely, and that was voted before the actual debut of the whole Olympics. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was decided already from months and months ago. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Keep that clear so some of you think misconception, right? So this was already voted beforehand, before yeah, all this. But no, this is
And
cool, man. There's some great moments. The debut, the Friday with the B girls, and then the next day on Saturday was the B boys, and all the competitors did great. I think they did fantastic. Um, there's I wish that everyone could have did like maybe a top 16 because the round robin, so some of them killed it and some of them couldn't make it. One of the highlight moments was Hero 10. He knew he couldn't make it. You kind of felt that on the stage when he was getting down against Victor. After his first round, you kind of see him like kind of looking a little emotional, and then that last round, he threw down some hardcore power moves, knowing that he's got to leave it all on the floor, right? And I'm sure you seen that video. What's your input or insights within that?
well, for me, honestly, it's like, man, this is my opinion on everything. Like, one of the I've heard other things about that moment. A lot of people saw it and were like the general audience, they're like, why didn't Hero 10 win that battle, right? Like, and that's a valid argument
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, a valid thing to ask. Why, right? And so the problem with what we're doing is we're saying, hey, well, you don't know breaking, so, and this is not how we need to be, right? Like, we shouldn't be like this, right? And this is why I don't know if a lot of people are familiar, but I was one of the first, not me, but R16, like, me and the people who organized R16 today to launch an official objective, uh, criteria-based judging system, like scoring system, right?
Right. Yes.
And the reason why is because we want to explain in the forefront why someone is winning or losing, right? Because we need to educate the audience. Because when the audience looks at it and says, okay, we have these judges and it's based on a judge's subjective opinion, well, everyone has an opinion, right? That's the reality, right? Everybody has an opinion. So everyone's looking at it like, these judges are dumb. They have a bad opinion because, look, all of us have this opinion that this dancer was better than the other. And then you're gonna have to say, well, these guys are judges, so they know more than you, right? And then so then everyone's gonna say, okay, then tell me
Mm-hmm.
why. right? Like, what
Yeah.
is it, right? Like, and then you have all the judges giving different opinions, and it's like it's a big hot mess. This is and this is the reason why the biggest thing that's said, right, over and over again is breakdancing doesn't belong, breaking doesn't belong in the Olympics. It is not a sport. Because anytime, and they all say this, anytime it's subjective, right? It's not a sport, right? Like, and so they say, well, what about
Yeah.
like rhythmic gymnastics, and what about synchronized swimming? And but then rhythmic gymnastics and synchronized swimming, they have a rubrics, right? They have a rubrics of and standards and scores. They actually have that. Where
Right. Right.
the system that's used now doesn't have that. It doesn't have actual scores to say this is how this person scored and this is what it takes to score that, to get that score. We're not able to do that, right? And so when Battles with Hero 10 come out and he clearly did moves that are mind-boggling, right? Like, like the speed, the dynamics, we do
Yeah.
not have a way to show how well he did, right? Whereas in R16, we would be able to explain it objectively. Hero 10 may have won in the dynamic aspect of it, the technique, or I guess in the system that they're using, they have a criteria called technique, right? But maybe vocabulary, or or the other criteria, the other person won, right? And so, but that's all back end, right? That's all back end stuff that you have to look on each individual judge's tabs, which it's not put out there for everyone to see, right? In the forefront while they're watching the battles. It's not like you're looking at it. And so how can anybody know why, right? All they can say is, why did these judges vote this way and that way? This is whack, right? Breaking is whack.
Uh-huh.
That's all they can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So it hurts me because like we work so hard to put that in the forefront, and the fact that it was not this time, when it could have totally been done like that, but it wasn't.
Mm.
So the things that I was worried about, I was praying and hoping that the general audience would overlook it, would be like, you know what, we just trust the judge's opinion. They have criteria, when the reality is, if we talk about the judging system, right? The reality behind it is, it really is a subjective system. So this is the way that it works, right? Each
Yeah.
of the 9 judges, round for round, they watch both contestants, and then in their brain, they subjectively decide who won that round. And then they use those 5 criterias in order to justify why, right? They are not required to score them, to say, okay, well, I have to move each of these to say how well they did on each of these things. They can just say, you know what? I think he had more vocabulary, and they can just move the vocabulary, right? Or they can say, you know what? In my opinion, I thought this person had more musicality, so I will slide the musicality all the way to the right, to the left, because I like this person. I thought this person won, and then I can nudge each of the elements to the right. Like, basically, they make up their mind subjectively first, and then they move the criteria, which to me is subjective, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we need to have more objective standards, right? And now I know a lot of people may say, well, we don't want people ticking boxes, but the system, we solved that issue already in the past, where we made a system where you don't have to tick boxes, right? You don't have to do everything, right? You can win the way you
Mm-hmm.
want to win. You know what I mean? Like, and there's scores to back it up, and there's standards and criteria to say, what does it mean to be perfect in foundation? What does it mean to score perfect in dynamics? And we didn't have that. And I think we could take those same things and apply it to the system they're using now, right? Like, to even the trivium system, which was taken out last minute. We could have applied the same principles to put the criteria in the forefront, which we didn't. And yeah, I guess we're kind of having to pay the price for it, not which is to not be taken seriously, as by the vast majority of people. I'm not Even though we had the criteria in the forefront, there may have been less people. There may have, of course, still been people to be like, I don't get it or whatever. But we need to try our best to educate the audience in the forefront,
Hmm.
before the judges. The criteria has to be before the judge's opinion, right? Not the judge's opinion and the criteria is kind of behind it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So that's
That
why
makes
Hero 10, in my opinion, the only thing I can say about Hero 10 is yes, he did something so amazing, and everyone who saw that can say, "Wow, that is amazing. That is the reason why breaking is an Olympics, because that is true athleticism." However, there's going to be quite a few people to say, "But why did he lose?" Right? And now we're still stuck, right? We're still stuck as a culture, stuck saying, "Well, it's because of
Yeah.
this and that," and to everyone else, but that's objective. That's not objective. How can you explain that objectively? And I hope we can get there one day, to be able to explain that objectively why someone wins or loses, right? So people can actually become a fan of breaking and say, okay, I get it now. He was a better dancer. He was more creative and original because creativity is definitely a part. But he had more difficulty, but didn't execute. He executed better, and whatever's the last, he had more vocabulary. Even though I think vocabulary is such a strange criteria, because back in the day when I've been battling, and my whole 30 years that I've been breaking and battling, I've never once heard someone say, "Yo, son, what's up? Your vocabulary is whack." Like nobody said that. You know what I mean? Like, so I think vocabulary is part of it in somewhere, but I don't think it's like to have its own category of its own. Um, I don't know. That's kind of strange. I think vocabulary should be taken
Yeah.
account for, but not be like at the same par as originality, right? Like, you know. So, anyways, that's just my thoughts.
Right, right.
Yeah.
What I took for vocabulary is just kind of like the different elements, right? For got all the elements, top rock, footwork, freezes, power moves, and then whatever else they
Well, I
consider.
mean, but is there criteria that shows that, or now that becomes ticking boxes, right? That actually becomes ticking
Mm.
boxes because now someone has to, well, I gotta do like CC, six step, three step, two step. Like you're literally ticking boxes by saying it like in that vocabulary
Oh
in that
wow.
way that you have to do that, right? Right? Vocabulary means like in rap battles, vocabulary means like wordplay, different ways to say the same thing, right? So in a rap battle, it makes
Hmm.
sense. Like actually, this is another thing, right? Like if you actually look at one of it's got a million views where they're talking about Raygun. These people are actually like looked up the criteria and they're like, vocabulary, what is this, a rap battle? Like it made us look like a joke, right?
Right.
Because it's not really explained. Like there was like if we at least explain vocabulary and put out this criteria to the forefront and said this is what you need to do in order to win vocabulary, right? And the judges have been trained on that, right? Then it could make sense, and they can then people act because people actually do their research, right? So they see these five things and they try to explain it the best they can because everyone wants to be an expert. But if there's no more depth to it, and who's in charge of trying to do that? Who is in charge of saying, okay, we want to make sure that the general audience understands what we do. I just want to know who was in charge of that, right? Like, hopefully there was someone that's in charge of it. I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I'm just saying, like,
Hmm.
we need to learn from this. And overall, from an organizational standpoint, the committee, all the b-boys that were part of it to make it look dope with the boombox, which is the boombox was a nice touch because it's giving it's kind of like giving what's the word,
Yeah, like
like
the hip hop.
homage to the 80s,
Mm.
how breaking exploded in the 80s is the era of the boombox, right? So it's kind of giving homage to that, right? How breaking, this is not the first time breaking was in the Olympics. Everyone has to know that, right? Like it's not the first time. This is the first time
Yeah.
breaking is in the Olympics sport, as a sport. But breaking was featured heavily in the Olympics in the 80s. when, right? Like that was the first time that it really took the world by storm. Everybody saw it in the closing ceremony and was like, wow, and it spread across the world. You know what I mean? So this
Wow.
is actually the second time that breaking is in the Olympics, but this time as a sport. For like as a almost as a trial. Actually, the Youth Olympics is the first time as the
Yeah, they
Youth
had a youth
Olympics.
one.
This is the
Okay.
first time. The next time breaking makes it to the Olympics, it's going to become like it should be as an official Olympic sport. That's going to be the real new era where it's gonna, yeah, that's gonna be awesome. But it's gonna
Yeah,
take a while to get there.
as it creates the
Yeah,
bumps, more organization, more involvement to it. Wow.
yeah. Well,
Damn,
more
dude, that's smart.
organization,
I learned a
more
lot from you
unity.
talking to you and this stuff. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh man, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so passionate about this because like and I'm gonna tell the truth, right? Like I just put it out there in a very vulnerable way. Like I was sad that I was not there and being able to be a part of it, of course, right? And I'm sure
For
a lot of
sure.
pioneers and OGs who into the culture feel the same way, especially the ones that worked hard to be a part of it, to paid their fees, did all the judging system stuff and everything, like and did all of that, and we're still not kind of part of it, right? And I wish that there was someone who was kind of like the director or committee for the culture, that said, okay, you know what, we really need these people here who
Hmm.
pave the way. We need to make sure they're all there, somehow, some way to at least be there, like uh yeah,
Yeah.
even if it wasn't me, right? But it was sad that I wasn't there, you know what I mean? And I know that everybody can laugh at that, you know what I mean? Because I did dedicate my career, and I sacrificed my career. In 2012, I decided that I'm not going to break in order to take breaking to that level. And I received when we first launched our system, the R16 judging system in 2010. I took the full brunt
Hmm.
force of the community saying, "What are you doing? Why are you creating a criteria-based judging system? Breaking will never go to the Olympics." We have we have a document. There's a documentary on the whole thing, called
Oh
"Meet Our
wow.
B-Boys," right, where it talked about the whole, and everyone was people were advocating for it, people were hating it, but it was just showing people coming together. And and the sad thing that I saw was during that whole entire process of certifying judges, putting all these standards and people fighting with me. Like there was people who were like they would not even, like, if we were like, hey, you need to be certified and trained. They fought against it. I don't want to be trained. I don't want to be certified. And we had to go through all these things to fight against it. And I learned so much. I was not able to at least give my advice of what I've learned from certifying breakers, certifying judges worldwide. You know what I mean? Like I could have at least given some tips, but for some reason I was pushed out of it. Uh, you know,
Mm.
and I wasn't invited to give my any knowledge. But there were times that there were people that were on the committee that are good friends of mine, and I think they did a great job, and they did ask me for advice, and I gave them as much advice as I could. You know what I mean? Mainly, my main advice to
Hmm.
everybody during that time was, do not fight against WDSF. Do not rock the boat. We cannot get into breaking into the Olympics without WDSF. No matter what anyone says, we cannot do this without WDSF. You know what I mean? If WDSF was to have a terrorist attack and all be eliminated by, like, tomorrow, we're still not going to be able to get to the Olympics because we are not IOC approved. We do not have the standards in place. We are not united. We do not have all the things that they have set up. So that was my main advice, and they stuck to it. And I said, be professional, keep a good relationship with them, learn as much as you can. In a
Hmm.
best case scenario, we can integrate very well with them one day if they treat us really good. If not, then perhaps we can take what we learn, we say thank you very much, and then we make our own, right? Our own international federation or something like that. But in the best case scenario, we don't need to because
Yeah.
they'll treat us very well. They'll give us the respect that we deserve, right? And so the future is yet to be seen. We do not know if they're going to continue to have what kind of relationship we're going to have with them. especially now that Olympics is not uh gonna be in the, breaking won't
Yeah,
be in the
moving for the
Olympics for
LA
the
games.
foreseeable future. However, there is going to be a lot of countries, especially the medal winners, who are going to want to push the sport, right? Like, because they won medals, right? So they're going to say, okay, let's keep this going. And there are going to be other lower so Olympics is not the only huge governmental sporting thing in the world. It's the top one, but there's a lot of other ones. There was the BRICS games, right? There is
Mm-hmm.
the Pan Am games. There are like all these
Or the
different types of games all the world.
SEE
Southeast
games, C
games.
games.
Yes, breaking is still in those. It's still scheduled to be on all of those, right? So we need to get our act together and really say, okay, all we have to take in all the feedback and say, how can we fix this, right? And then the breaking community needs to come together, you know, behind it as well. We have to come together and start talking and find who has a good vision and a good vision for the culture in terms of this direction. Who out there really will advocate for uh, respecting the culture, respecting the pioneers and the OGs and legends, and coming up with a plan. How can we have each of the people who really built this culture, this dance, each of the crews that really were part of it? How can we have all of them involved and some kind of involvement and say and pay homage to all of them continuously, and build something for the future, right? How can we do that? So it doesn't have to be me. It could be
Wow.
whoever's out there, because there's so many people right now that are building things. Like the future is all the break entrepreneurs who are building businesses, who have breaking clubs, like who have breaking studios, who are teachers and creating these clubs all around the world. Like it's growing massively, and these are the people who are self-funded, you know what I mean, that have the money to create the leagues of the future, you know so I'm gonna be honest. I know
Yeah.
I keep going on. I've been holding this in me for so long,
Yeah. No, this is good
right? And it's
stuff,
just coming.
man.
Okay, the only way I see getting back, there's two possible routes to get back into the Olympics, right? Is one, WDSF continues to push this in the best way possible, working with the community joining together, really trying to fix the way that it's working. That's one way, right? One way. I hope that works, right? The
Right.
second way is there needs to be the culture. Community has to rise up and become more professional on its own outside the Olympics, like the NBA or FIFA, like FIFA, where breaking clubs
Mm.
all around the world are formed.
Yeah.
And then we build a fan base. So we say, okay, we have a breaking club here in Taiwan. You have a breaking club in Las Vegas. So your breaking club in Las Vegas is the best breaking club in US. We have the best breaking club in, Taiwan. Let's do a showdown. Las Vegas versus Taipei, you know? And let's see and let's build our
Mm.
huge
Yeah.
audience. And imagine we can have breaking clubs all over the world that represent. I mean, it would be better if it represented a crew. So for example, imagine there was the Toronto Supernaturals. You know what I mean? And we built our
Uh,
club up to have tons of
yeah.
fans. Like, because if we're able to do this all around the world and have our own, and then we can really truly create an international federation. If we can do this in five continents in the world, at least four continents in the world, if we can have them all over, you know, then we can truly uh, have a international federation that can now apply to the Olympics and say, "Hey, look, we've done this." That's how NBA did it, right? Like, NBA, they sent the All-Star NBA team, right,
Uh-huh.
to represent, and they wiped the floor, right? Like they totally demolished it, right? They killed it, right? They won,
Yeah.
right? And then Olympic soccer or Olympic football, sorry for the Europeans that watch this, Olympic soccer football, FIFA is the one that kind of runs that, right? Like, so FIFA as an organization does in the Olympics, is the one that
Yeah.
that is able to, you know. So that's a second way, right? So we kind of have two ways, right? Go with WDSF or kind of like a an amateur based format, right? Which like like a like sporting format, the governmental sporting format, or we have a commercial sporting format. I prefer the commercial sporting format only in the sense that if we make breaking clubs, more people in every city around the world can live from breaking. You know what I mean? Where if we go
Yeah.
the the gymnastic kind of format, like where it's like like that kind of way, only the elites, the top in every country can really live from this. You know what I mean? So I'm all for when I moved to Korea to understand breaking as a industry. My question that I had to answer was why can't we all live from this and do what we really love to do? Because we can see how good the breakers get when they can live from it. Like like Phil Wizard. Now bring it to Phil Wizard. I know that was one of the questions. You know,
Yeah. Shout out Phil
man.
Wizard, Olympic gold
Oh,
medalist
Phil.
now.
Out of all, I was so happy because for him to have won, the reason this is what I hope is going to happen. So Canada sees a gold. Canada really pushes into breaking. They need someone to help, and there's a spot open up for some breaking consultant that I will apply for that spot right away. And if I can get
Uh-huh.
a job paid by the government or industry or commercial industry or whatever, I would love to build a Canadian league. You know what I mean? Like, a city like the NBA or NHL of breaking in Canada. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? So we don't know that's gonna happen, or they're gonna keep the same thing. But let's just say they decide to do that because they're everyone's proud of our Olympic medalist. But I don't know. But another one that can happen is because he's Korean, he's going to be a celebrity in Korea as well, right? So
Mm.
Korea
Okay.
may blow up again, and that could probably bring me and my wife back to Korea. I don't know if they're gonna decide to build a
Yeah. Right.
Korean
Right.
league. You know what I mean? Like wherever wherever uh breaking explodes next to the international level, if they build a sustainable model that can survive and exist without having to beg for money, that's fan based, that's going to be the format that everyone needs to follow and duplicate in countries around the world. That's the only way that we're going to be able to have our own thing and get the respect we deserve. You know what I mean? Because if gamers, esports,
All
if
right.
they're getting the respect, making millions from playing video games, we can too. You know what I mean? We need to come together.
Yeah, no, you most definitely. Nowadays we see a lot of content creating within breaking, streamers, right? Twitch streamers, and they all do this in video games too. Video games and
Yeah.
self walkthroughs, movie. It's kind of worldwide thing on every aspect, but we definitely need more people to advocate
Yeah.
towards the content and make it more worldwide for the world to see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Raygun done it, right? But yeah,
Well,
no,
I mean,
yeah.
she
So,
did bring
you're,
she did I know there's a delay, I know. But what I was
yeah,
saying that
there's a
yeah,
little
she did
delay.
bring
I'm
like
putting on mute because I have an echo when I talk and it bounces off your feed. So don't mind.
I
I'm still
see.
listening when
Okay. Yeah, no, I was saying that she did bring a lot of attention to this, right? And it did reveal a lot of what the general public and general audience thinks about us, right? And it's like, we need to now uh learn from it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not we can't put it on her, and we just need to learn why and really look at why. And it shouldn't be a case for more division in the culture. You know what I mean? And thankfully we see actually the culture coming together and rallying and showing her our support and love. I've never met her before, right? I don't know if we would get along or not, but she is a member of our culture and our community. You know what I mean? Like, and she has done the work in the academic world of breaking, because there's a lot of people who are in the academic world who have who are studying breaking, right? And for like Mary Fogarty, right? And there's quite a few people out there in the world, and because there's a lot more research and stuff into breaking, there has been a lot. This is one of the reasons why breaking went into the Olympics as well. You know what I mean? Has gotten there because there's a lot more things to study and resources, and governments are
Mm,
looking for proof. They're looking for proof to know, why should I fund this as a sport? What is it gonna do? And their research is being used as data to say, look, according to this so and so's paper, um, this is what it's doing for the culture, for kids, for youth. And so that's where the funding is coming in. Funding's coming in for, because of government saying, oh, we need more diversity, we need affected margin, we need to help the marginalized community stay out of trouble. According to all these books and scholarly things, this is where we should put our money, and this is what's happening, right? And this can be reflected in the Olympics. So these people who have been in the academic world have helped a lot, right? Because breaking has helped the community. Now, a lot of the people who don't know this are just can only hate and looking at for like as are gonna hate because they don't know what the effects of breaking and the hip hop culture have had on the streets, especially in the hood. You know what I mean, right? Like the fact that like what breaking is today from when I got into it in the 90s is a lot different than what it was in the past. But the good thing is we're able to teach all the lessons that we've learned, whether it be like techniques and the physical aspect of it, whether it be the cultural aspect of it, or whether it be the life lessons that we've learned, about respect, about uh, leaving a legacy, getting your name out to the world, about skills, how skills talk, or whether it's about earning a reputation. Like, we're able to instill that in the next generation so that they don't have to make the same mistakes that we did. You know what I mean? That they don't want to be a punk on the street and try to
yeah.
earn respect on the street, right? They can earn respect through their skills, and on the dance floor, and they can settle beef in ways other than, you know what I'm saying? Other than really like this, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Street fights
So,
or the other thing.
yeah, you know? So, yeah, bro.
Damn.
That's what, yeah.
So you just triggered something in my head about the Olympics, talking about the youth of breaking. Um, we've seen so many good talent from the youth age doing the craziest moves, power moves. I think it could. You think it would be something if we get more towards the Olympic side? There could be a youth version. You got the B girls, B boys, and possibly a youth one if that's something. Do you believe that can happen?
A Youth Olympics?
Yes, yes.
Are you talking? Yeah,
There is a
so
youth Olympic
actually breaking,
already, right?
no, so actually there is breaking supposed to go to the Youth Olympics in Dakar, or not Dakar, or in Senegal. Yeah, I think Dakar, Senegal, which has been pushed back because of COVID, and now it's happening in 2028, I believe, or something like that. So
Oh,
breaking is
okay.
actually 2026. It's gonna happen in 2 years. So breaking is still, it's not dead. You know what I mean? It's not dead, and we have to, there right now, there is gonna be a influx of participants that have seen breaking in the Olympics, especially youth, and so all the the breaking clubs and breaking schools and breaking studios, and they're going to be um they're gonna see an influx of kids that are gonna want to get into this. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a lot of more people wanting to get into this kind of stuff. So there's gonna be a lot more programs and stuff like that. But from the commercial aspect, that's probably gonna dry up a bit when like there might be less. So there might be a temporary spike, especially in Canada or where they won medals. There might be a temporary spike over there. Definitely in Japan there will be. in the commercial aspect, but that might wean out. I hope it doesn't. I hope they're gonna stay. You know, like I
Hmm.
hope Nike will stay, right? Because they just came in, and it's kind of funny that they literally bought out so many people, right? And the one that
Yeah.
won, the brand corporate brand that won was Lululemon. It's so awesome.
All right.
Lulu, you know? Oh, I love
Well,
it.
he
I
got
love it, you know.
Toyota as well, right?
Yeah, I got Toyota, yo. It's man, it's awesome. He got a lot, so it's amazing, you know. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dang. So much knowledge drop. You talking about the Olympics, your knowledge through it. Um, I think that's all the question I have so far, you know. Where do you see or how does this what do you see the move next to break? I know you said a little bit already. You're gonna see some spikes,
Yes.
and then it's probably gonna dry out a little bit. But as breaking needs to come into a whole more community base, more in the culture and creating a hub base, right, in different cities to
Yeah.
give it
Yeah.
longevity to keep growing. Um,
Yeah.
from now
What?
in the future, in your mind, what do you think might happen down the road and after
Mhm.
since it's been in the
Okay.
Olympics, it's been in the wave, the tsunami of the audience, in your eyes?
Um, so the what I see going forward, right? What we heavily, really honestly need, okay? We don't need more competitions and regular competitions doing the same thing and playing it out more and more, right? Like, you know, we don't need to have too many of those. But what we need is to try something new and new things. And so one of the main big things that I really honestly believe is at this current time, we need more break entrepreneurs and breaking investors. And there is a lot. There's a lot of former B-boys and former B-girls, right? Both that were really heavily into this in
Hmm.
the 90s, 2000s, up into 2010s, many of them, who are now uh not so much breaking anymore. They still come around. Maybe they judge still, they break on the side, but they really have their financials like really put together. They have money, right? Like they're doing very well. And they're kind of waiting for something in breaking to invest into, right? They're not just going to invest their money into just nothing, right? They're not going to do that. So we need more break entrepreneurs, like people who have an entrepreneurship mindset, are b-boys that are from the culture to start coming together and saying, okay, let's build something that will be good for the culture and that will like, you know, that, you know. And so breaking investors, break entrepreneurs, and one thing that I think that we need that all the other industries have that we don't have, and I want to get people's feedback on this, is we need a breaking business conference. Like, you know, everything about breaking businesses, breaking brands, breaking outfits, breaking clothes, breaking shoes, breaking leagues, like a conference
Yeah,
where
yeah,
different speakers come to like a hotel, like a nice hotel for maybe like 3 days or maybe up to a week, right? Where they have different type of speakers. So 50% of the speakers can talk about how they make a living from breaking, right? And so when people come and they pay to come and stay for like a week, you know, they hear how maybe we'll have someone like Flea Rock who makes a living from uh doing street shows, right? And he can kind of have a talk about how he does it, how he makes money from this, how much money you can earn, you know, what are the tips? And so people can take that talk and get an idea and they can go back to their city and then learn what they need to do. And then other people can like talk about other things like, okay, this is how you make a school, how you make a studio, or this is how you teach. Like, you know, like just a conference to really gather people together. And then other people
yeah,
can have talks about their idea about a brand and make pitches to investors. So there'll be kind of like talks where people who are investors can come, they can hear an idea and they can start talking, you know, about how they can invest in different types of businesses and stuff. Like that's something that we really need. And it doesn't have to be like a competition. There's no competition, but we can have cipher nights. We can have like really fun like showdown. We can get two legends to battle at this place, and just something like that where people can all just come and just really take the culture to the next level. For people who are older, b-boys who are older, not battling like the younger ones, but want to make a career out of it, or want to make a
Yeah,
business, or want to invest into something. This might be a great thing that we need. You know, I don't know if I made one, I don't know if people would come, and I don't know how that would take because we never done anything like that before. So
for
yeah,
sure.
I think
You
that
know,
that would be
that's
a gorgeous.
um I've been to like real estate conferences, comic cons, all these conventions, right? And there's a lot of things in my head I want to come to life. And what you're speaking out is kind of, in a sense, a similar thing. Like guest speakers talking about their knowledge, what they went through. Like you're mentioning, Flea Rock getting down there during his lineage, how to make like a successful street show, how to engage audience to come through, right? And then there's people like Daniel Zhu with Stance Media. How did he create a business, or how did he create an audience of viewers to as a media side? Cross One can talk about how did he throw a jam freestyle session and through his journey. I think this is a lot of value that can bring the culture to bring it right because they can't, down the road, people want to learn this stuff. People want to know how to do it, right? And I think that's a lot of things
Mm,
that's been hasn't been spoken enough for us to understand to be a
mm,
breakpreneur. And I think that's a great thing. I think definitely something should get built upon down the road. Um, you know, if it's not there, create it, right? And so, like you're mentioning, convention people have fun Kickstarters, fundraisers of different things, or check out, hey, this product, new clothing, spin controls, throwing a lot of things, Dizzy shoe, just different break in the break culture. And I think that's a great idea. And it's just like, how do you create it? So yeah, yeah, definitely things I thought of. You're
mm,
thinking of it. I'm sure other people are thinking of this type of stuff. And so if you're want to get involved, want to figure out you have ideas, shoot me a DM, shoot
mm.
Dizzy a DM, and maybe we'll gather up and connect and figure out things we can discuss. And so,
Mhm.
Dizzy, um, dude, this is great. This is a great game back up, getting back on the podcast. The Break Olympics just happened. Is there anything else you want to bring up that we haven't discussed?
No, I guess I mean that's pretty much all I've come up with for the Olympics. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be more people
Yeah.
talking about it in the next few days. It's gonna linger around for a while. So I hope that it lingers longer than just like people forget about it by next week. I hope that like it leaves a lasting impression. Why this event is so iconic? It's because it's a milestone, right? It's a new milestone. Um, it's crazy how it overshadowed the like things like um Red BC1, right? It kind of overshadowed that, right? And the same way that Red Bull BC1
Yeah.
overshadowed the big Rocksteady anniversary was the major event of the past that brought everyone to New York City, for this major event, and then BC1 overshadowed that. Now Olympics has overshadowed this. I just want to let everyone know that this is just the beginning. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people might be looking at it like the end. It's not in the Olympics anymore. It's not. It's still the big. It's still we're still in the beginning. The work still has to be done. It may be the third wave, the third media explosion of breaking, right, in the world, right, in some country, like especially Canada or Japan or the metal countries. And we need to prepare by building an arc, multiple arcs. The arcs are breaking businesses that can be self-sustaining, that can build a fan base, that can create active participants, and it's time to start coming together, even as entrepreneurs, and say, hey, we don't need to, even though we can beef on the dance floor, like hard, I can hate you and break
Hmm.
beef on the dance floor. But in business, we can work together. You know what I mean? I don't have to like you. You don't have to like me, but we can work together. This is the Chinese way. The Chinese think like this, you know. Chinese people, you know,
Yeah.
where Japanese is like, I don't like you, you don't like me, so we stay far away. Don't come near me, and I don't come near you. You just stay there, right? You know, Korea is kind of like Koreans are kind of like, um, if you starve, if I starve, you starve. We starve together, right? Like, so if you do something, I'm just gonna do exactly the same thing you do. We could think like this too, right? Like we need to kind of think like Koreans as well. And Chinese is like, I don't like you, you don't like me, but if we join forces, we can make a lot of money. You know what I mean? So we got to think like business, think like that, you know? So yeah.
No, that's good stuff. That's great stuff. And then, yeah, dude. Hopefully, yeah, moving forward, this is just the beginning. Like you said, this is a milestone getting into the Olympics,
Yep,
and it's the future of what's coming next. If everyone comes together and keep building and building, making this culture better and better, evolve from what it
absolutely.
is or it used to be. Yeah. Yeah, man. Great, dude. Dude, awesome. Glad to have you on. I'm gonna wrap up right here. But dude, it's such an honor to have you on out in
Yeah.
Taiwan. Bboy Dyzee, Supernatural's crew, Seven Commandos. Yeah, yeah. Go check them out on Instagram. Um, yeah. What's that? Is that the? Oh,
All seven commandos.
oh, word. I didn't know that. Okay.
Phil
Heck
Wizard.
yeah. Yeah, shout out Phil Wizard winning the Olympic gold medal. Shout out to Danny Dan getting silver, Victor getting bronze, and the B girls, Ami getting gold, Nikki getting silver, and 671 getting bronze. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Great. I'm gonna wrap up right here, dude.
Dream
Dizzy.
Runners.
Heck yeah. Ah, Dream Runners. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dope, man. Yeah, guys. Like, subscribe. You can find us on YouTube. This episode will be dropped on Apple and Spotify before YouTube, but I will drop that shortly after that. All right, guys. Like, share. Peace.